Welcome to the OONI Probe app. What you can see here is the OONI Probe desktop app for Windows or Mac, and it looks very similar to the OONI Probe app that you may have also installed on your mobile phone. The OONI Probe app includes a dashboard with a variety of different types of cards. As you can see, these cards are thematic, and they include themes like websites, instant messaging, circumvention, and so on. The reason why we have included these different types of cards is because they represent the different types of services or the different types of tests that you would be performing. So on the one hand, when we have the websites card, here this is used in order to run tests for measuring the blocking of websites. You can learn more by clicking on the websites card, where you will see that this card includes the OONI Web Connectivity Test. The OONI Web Connectivity Test is designed to measure the blocking of different types of websites, trying to identify if they've been blocked by means of DNS tampering, TCP/IP blocking, or by a transparent HTTP proxy. If you're curious to learn how this test works, we encourage you to click on this link in order to read the description of how web connectivity works. This is particularly interesting and relevant because depending on the methodology of a test, that determines how the test works and what limitations it may potentially have. And so what types of websites does this test even measure? The websites that are tested with web connectivity are included in the Citizen Lab test lists. The test lists are lists that include websites that are measured for censorship by OONI Probe and other censorship measurement projects. And these lists are publicly hosted on GitHub. And there are two types of lists. On the one hand, there is the global list, which includes internationally relevant websites, such as bbc.com and facebook.com and anything else that is internationally relevant. While the country-specific test lists are lists that are specific to each country and include a wide range of different types of websites that are relevant to the context of that country. So a country list would, for example, include local news media websites, local human rights websites, and so on. We have linked to these two specific lists here so that you can go and review them and see if you feel comfortable with testing those specific types of websites. Regardless of the country that you're running OONI Probe from, you will always be testing websites that are included in the global test list, as well as websites included in the test list that is specific to the country that you're running OONI Probe from. So if, for example, you're running OONI Probe in Brazil, you would be testing websites from the global list, but you would also be testing websites from the Brazilian list. To test websites, all you need to do is click on the Run button up here. And as soon as you do, it will start testing websites from the global list and from the list of your country. Apart from website testing, you can also use OONI Probe to measure the blocking of different instant messaging apps. To learn more, click on the instant messaging card. Here you will learn that you will specifically be measuring the potential blocking of 4 different instant messaging apps. Specifically, we provide tests for measuring WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and Signal. By clicking on each of these, you can find the relevant description which explains how each OONI Probe test works. These specific tests all vary from a methodological perspective because each of these tests is designed to measure the unique properties of each of these apps. As soon as you run this test and you measure these apps, or as previously described, if you run the websites test and measure the blocking of websites, in every case, your results will automatically be published on 2 places. On the one hand, on OONI Explorer, that we will be discussing in the next chapters, and also on the OONI API, where you can download the data in raw JSON format. So to test these 4 instant messaging apps, all you need to do is click on the Run button up here. Apart from measuring the blocking of websites and instant messaging apps, you can also run OONI Probe to measure the reachability of various censorship circumvention tools. By clicking on the circumvention card, you will see that we include tests for Siphon, Tor, and Risa VPN. We are also going to be shipping a new test for Tor Snowflake, and that has already been shipped in OONI Probe Mobile. Again, you can learn how each of these tests work by clicking on the links for each of these tools, and your test results will automatically be published on OONI Explorer and on the OONI API. To run these tests, all you need to do is click on the Run button up here. Beyond measuring the blocking of websites, instant messaging apps, and circumvention tools, you can also use OONI Probe to measure your network speed and performance. If you click on the performance card, you will see that this card includes 2 different tests. On the one hand, it includes the NDT test, which is designed to measure the speed and performance of your network, but it also includes the Dash test, which is designed to measure video streaming performance. Both of these tests have been developed in collaboration with the Measurement Lab. Again, these test results will be published automatically on OONI Explorer and on the OONI API, and you can learn how the tests work through the test descriptions linked here and here. An important thing to note here is that these tests rely on third-party servers provided by MLab, and they may collect your IP address for research purposes. We therefore recommend referring to their data policy. To run these tests, you can click on the Run button up here on the top right corner. We also include a thematic card for middle boxes. Please note that on OONI Probe Mobile, the middle box tests are actually included in the performance test. So both of these are grouped together under performance on OONI Probe Mobile. The category of middle boxes essentially includes 2 different types of tests, which are designed to determine whether your internet service provider is using a middle box. A middle box is like a network appliance, which can be used for a variety of networking purposes, many of which can be positive, such as for caching. Sometimes, though, these middle boxes can also be used to implement internet censorship or surveillance. What these tests do is that they check to see whether we're able to identify the presence of a middle box on your network. The fact that a middle box may be used on your network doesn't necessarily mean that it has been used for implementing internet censorship, as that in itself would require further investigation. These tests merely inform you if a middle box is on your network, and in some cases, the tests are able to fingerprint and identify them. And again, the test results are automatically published on OONI Explorer and on the OONI API, and you can run these tests by clicking on the Run button. Finally, the OONI Probe app includes an experimental card, which is quite self-explanatory as it includes new experimental tests. These are the types of tests that we are developing as a team, and they include more cutting-edge research. The reason why we are shipping them as part of the experimental card is because we want to have a quick and easy way to try out new tests, collect relevant data and analyze them, understand how useful those tests are, how we can improve upon them, and so on, before we ship them more officially as part of the other cards. Currently, the experimental card includes tests for stun reachability, DNS check, and also Tor Snowflake. And the results are automatically published on OONI Explorer and on the OONI API. And you can run the tests by clicking Run. In all these cases, we've seen how we can run each different type of test individually. So for example, if you only care to test websites, you can click on the websites card and you can only test websites by clicking run. Similarly, if you only want to run performance tests, you can click on the performance card and click run. But if you would like to run all the tests instead of having to manually select every card one by one, you can click on the main run button at the top of the dashboard. And by clicking on the main run button, you will test all of the tests included in all of these cards. And in fact, we recommend running OONI in this way. So let's click on run and start running tests. And so as you can see, it is now preparing the testing, and it will start testing websites, and then it will proceed to running all the other tests described.